I think my best friend or roommate has an unhealthy relationship with AI. I don't know who to talk to about something like this. Unlike my friend, I'll call her Claire for the sake of privacy. I am not super tech literate. I Googled where to share experiences and read a few suggestions before finding this forum. Hopefully this is the right place. Claire has been my best friend since the 4th grade, so of course when we both got into the same college, it was a no-brainer to become roomies. I'm majoring in history. She's majoring in computer science. I bring that up to say that I have always been one for physical media. Old books, cassettes, VHS tapes, etc. I didn't upgrade from my flip-out keyboard phone until the later half of the 2010. Claire, however, has always been on the cutting edge of technological advancements. She's always had the newest gaming consoles, the newest phones, and so many various Bluetooth devices, I honestly couldn't tell you what half of them were for. She was an early adopter of streaming, VR, and now, AI. I wasn't really concerned at first. I honestly thought it was kind of cool. You remember that one website that would generate the picture grid? I can't remember the name of it, but I remember her showing me Shrek trail cam footage. Only like 2 of the 6 or 9 pictures looked half decent, but I understood the appeal and humor behind it. The next thing I remember was all the crazy photo filters she would show me, her as different animated characters and stuff again, not my thing, but cool, you know? Then she started using it for homework. I think that's when I first started to get kinda skeeved out about the whole thing. Who am I to tell a computer science major how to use technology, but I don't know, something about it just felt wrong. I don't know when she started talking to the AI for sure. I know she had a couple fictional characters she was talking to at some point. It was never anything serious, but it slowly escalated over time to her picking up her phone in between gaming matches to text back one of the characters from the game she was literally currently playing. At some point within the last year, she stopped talking to the fictional characters and directly to the AI itself. I only know this because she said the fictional character thing was cringe now when I asked if she was still texting the guy from her game. It's gotten a lot worse these past few months. I hear her talking in her room at all hours of the day and night. I can't make out what she's saying, but I know it's her. She must have headphones in because I can't hear a response, either that or she's using text-to-speech. Whenever I do manage to see her out of her room, she's so glued to her phone she barely registers what I'm saying. I've tried texting her instead, but all I get are these weird responses that sound nothing like her. I ran a couple through one of those AI detection things on a hunch, and the site, if it's to be trusted, told me they were all AI generated. I asked her about her classes, and she told me they all moved online. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm too scared to try and snap her out of it again. The last time I saw her heading back to her room from the bathroom, she looked and smelled like she hadn't showered in days. When I tried to say something, she ignored me, as per usual, but this time I pushed further. I reached out to shake her shoulder, just to get her attention, but Jesus Christ, I wish I hadn't. Her head whipped up, and I swear her eyes were black. Her hair was so greasy. It was 2 shades darker than normal and pinned straight. Her face was riddled with acne. Half of the bumps were scabbed over like she was picking at them, something she used to give me crap about in our middle school years. She had grabbed my wrist to stop me from touching her, and seriously, I don't even know what to say. Maybe this won't freak anybody else out, but if you knew Claire, she used to care so much about her appearance. Now she has these talons. I don't know how else to describe them. Her hands were so dirty and bent and weird, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about them since. She scratched me, and even though I disinfected it twice, I think my brain is just replaying how dirty she was, and it's messing with me. I've never had a minor cut or scrape that was so itchy. I'm thinking it's a manifestation of my anxiety about the situation. After she grabbed me, she just sort of stared for a bit before letting me go too. Scamper. Back to her room. That was 3 nights ago, and I haven't seen her since. It's starting to smell when I walk past her room. I know she's still in there because I can hear her talking, and when I texted her about it, I got this. Sorry, bestie. Just a funny little prank, hope you laughed. Super busy now, but I will absolutely talk to you later, I love you. The AI detector website I've been using confirmed what I already suspected about that text. That brings me to why I felt the need to seek out literally any place to. I don't even know what I'm looking for, maybe just to share what happened. I don't know. Last night when I was trying to sleep, I could hear scratching on the wall that separates our bedrooms. It went on for hours. Just slow, methodical dragging of what I imagined to be her nails against the wall. Sometimes, in between her indecipherable murmurs, it would speed up, and just the thought of it makes me feel ill. I genuinely have zero fucking idea what to do here. Claire is my only real friend, and I haven't even spoken to the real her in weeks. I'll update this if anything else happens, but honestly, I'm worried what state she will be in the next time I do see her. I think I'll try leaving some food and water outside her bedroom door tonight. Maybe that will help. Submitted by /u or equivalent mess 420 link comments. I've explored abandoned places for 5 years. Nothing prepared me for what I found in Hellborn. I really need your help. I've been an explorer for 5 years, and I can say in my own words that I've never found anything like what I found recently. I've explored abandoned stations in Japan, old houses, and even abandoned bunkers from World War II. I'm an adventurer. It's in my blood. The town of Hellborn is a fertile place for legends. If you're really a good explorer, you've felt at least once the urge to put your backpack on, turn on your camera, and go deep into that cursed town. With me, it was no different. I rented a small apartment on Alphabet Street, a funny name for a street. I know. Over the days, I recorded short interviews with the local residents who told me about an old women's psychiatric colony founded in the early 2000s, meant to take in women of all ages under the care of nuns. Everything was fine in the beginning. The goal of helping those women was being met, until the investigation in 2007. Bodies. Blood. Babies. The place treated those women like animals, their bodies having a single function: to be a container for a fetus, which would later be sold, or in the worst cases, cut open and sold in pieces. I'm a person sensitive to this case. I know human evil has no limits, especially when money is involved. That whole religious facade hid all the evil under the guise of helping. Like the curious explorer I am, I went to the place. I got my gear together, which was a bag with a medical kit, ropes, and granola bars. I put a knife on my belt, because in case you didn't know, it's never good to enter abandoned places without something to defend yourself. I learned that when I explored an old abandoned building and ran into someone who wasn't very friendly, who ended up leaving a scar on my arm, but that's not relevant right now. The sun was still shining on the horizon. I arrived at the place after a long walk through the forest. The place was in decline. It was a concrete and wood structure, surrounded by roots that were trying to consume what little was still standing. I walked carefully, the soles of my shoes sinking into the mud. Around me there were only trees. The place was completely isolated. When I got to the old wooden door, I pushed it gently. It opened. Inside, there was only darkness. The air was heavy. The smell of iron rose up. With every step, the wood creaked. There was no way I could walk on that floor. If I kept going, the ground would probably give way under my feet because of the rotten wood, so I decided to explore from the outside. Walking around the large structure, I lit up some windows with my flashlight. The weather was cold. The place was silent. That's when I moved my flashlight beam away, and the reflection of something metal glinted. It was a camera. It was next to an old well, made of stones and covered with a large wooden lid. I put the camera in my backpack, finished exploring, and went back to my small apartment. On the way, I ran into Mrs. William, who gave me a forced smile and offered me a piece of cake. I politely declined, went up the stairs, and took a hot shower. Later, I decided to connect a cable to my computer and to the camera, which was an old model. The metal was rusty, with brown stains on the surface. The screen was cracked, but still, it was in good enough condition to use. The exploration of that psychiatric place was fine, until I opened the camera files. In the recording, it showed a young guy with yellowish hair, white skin, a flushed face, and green eyes shining with that excitement that only an explorer has when seeing an isolated and dangerous place in the middle of the forest. He was speaking Russian. From what little I understood, he was talking about the history of the place, about wanting to find something dangerous to show his friends. He didn't look older than 16. Unlike me, he managed to get inside. The wood looked like it would give way with every step he took, but that didn't scare him. He kept showing the rooms, the rusty equipment, the aged wood, the stained clothes on the floor. When he decided to show the outside, he turned the camera to the well, zooming in and commenting on the lid. In the next file, the camera was on the ground. No sign of the kid. The camera was pointing at the well, which now had its lid off. But that's not what made my fingers tremble. It was the sounds. Hoarse screams coming from inside the well, along with the sound of what I assume were bones cracking, like dry branches, and then silence. The video ended like that. I just sat there for a few seconds, staring at the blurry screen of my computer. I took these recordings to the local police. They just patted me on the back, saying it was probably just some teenager trying to pull a prank. I asked them to investigate, to look for that kid's face in some missing persons database, but they refused. They told me to finish my stay and go back home. I know that wasn't a prank, but I decided not to try to prove my point. Submitted by /U or Evelyn Dark Link comments. How long are pregnancies supposed to last? I was drafting a breakup message when Abby, my girlfriend, texted me first. I'm pregnant. How can 2 words so dramatically change the trajectory of your life? Well, I'm not a piece of shit. I'm going to do the right thing. I will ignore the aching feeling that I just don't like Abby, that I don't like being around her, that I find her boring, immature. None of that matters anymore. I have to be there for my son. And I just know it's going to be a boy. We got married at the county register of deeds. No roofie-toofie wedding we couldn't afford despite Abby deeply wanting one. It felt businesslike, as it should. Those first 8 months were brutal. I found her mewling demands infuriating. Foot massages. Oh, quick run to the store to get me those pickles I like. Why are you acting so distant? I wanted to put my head through a wall. But I didn't. I had to be strong. For my son. I had the due date marked on the calendar. I had counted down the fucking hours till I would see my son. Knew my life would change infinitely the instant I saw him. 9 months came and went. She didn't give birth. Abby had been pregnant for 10 months when I begged her to see a doctor. Nothing's wrong, she insisted. Yes, something very much is wrong. Glenn, trust me, nothing is wrong. He'll come out when he's ready. Trust her? How the hell could I? 11 months of pregnancy. 12 months. I contemplated crude methods of sedating her, knocking her out and getting her to a doctor to receive the C-section she flat out refused to get. She kept saying those words over and over again. He'll come out when he's ready. Every week that passed brewed more fury in me. At 16 months pregnant, I began to believe she was doing this on purpose. This was some otherworldly scheme to spite me. I was losing the ability to keep my calm. Abby, it's time. I don't think so. Yes, it is. It's time. He'll come out when he's— Don't say that. Don't ever say that again. Maybe, she said, you're just not ready to be a father. Maybe that's why I couldn't help but yell. I'm ready to be a father. I would kill for my son. Oh, please, kill for him. Nobody's asking you to kill anything. Would you care for him, love him no matter what? She pauses, and I see insubordination in her eyes. Would you love his mother? You'll never know what it's like to feel so strongly for your child you'd kill for him. That is my burden. Now this has to stop. See a doctor. Give me my son. I'm not asking. Our fights grew more frequent. 2 years of pregnancy. I can't leave. Not while she has my son. I find myself on medical websites, researching emergency home cesareans. My eyes shaping up kitchen knives I don't think will be sharp enough. I can see my son under her skin. He has grown large, strong, and healthy. At least I hope. The shape of his face is almost discernible, and I can see my nose on him. I swear I can see it. 3 years of pregnancy, and I can no longer hold in my rage. I have put so many holes in the drywall. How can she be so stubborn? 4 years have passed. 5 years of pregnancy. Abby insists everything is fine, that our unnamed son will be ready to enter this world when I'm ready to be a loving father. That bitch, she's the size of a whale. She can barely walk. Our son is so big inside her, stretching her skin, swelling her joints. I must admit I have a mental breakdown and I run, flee, escape. No child is worth the torture she has put me through. My son will have to be a broken young man, fatherless, lost and afraid. It has been 7 years since I received that fateful, "I'm pregnant" message. I've spent the last 2 years couch surfing, or I'm ashamed to admit, sleeping in my car, odd jobs, miserable nights, drinking everything I can steal, trying to forget. Failing, and perhaps only because it is Christmas, I find myself driving to Abby's house, out of body, as if I can't control what I'm doing. I'm being drawn to her. I park across the street, can see right in through her grand living room window. Under a Christmas tree, Abby sits in her pajamas across from my son. He opens presents and a smile lights up on his face. He hugs her. They laugh like they've known each other their whole lives. I see red, not from any Christmas lights, but from what was stolen from me. I run to her front door, but of course it's locked. So I go to that living room window and start punching. I'm going to take my son back. As the glass breaks, I feel the shards shred through my jacket and wrists. Abby is not frightened at all, like my son is. She grabs him and carries him away into a different room, all in a flash. I have made mincemeat out of the glass and my skin. I have one leg through the window sill when Abby returns with a sleek little handgun. I'm also willing to kill for him. Submitted by /u or forgotten well-linked comments.